Welcome back, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Boynton. We're going to do another video about tackling nonfiction text. And it is also going to be related to that Oreo video that you should have already read. This time we have something new to learn about reading nonfiction text. We're going to talk about reading numbers because nonfiction text very often puts numbers in the text. And those numbers are there for a reason. So there's a special way you can go about reading numbers. When you're reading numbers, you really need to put on your math brain. And you need to think about, what do those numbers mean? The author put those numbers in there for a reason. They want me to think about those numbers and try and understand them. Here's a way to do that. When you come across a number in a nonfiction book or an article, it's important that you first slow down. A lot of times when I read a number and there's a sentence with a number in it, I slow down and I actually read that sentence again. And when I read it, I try to visualize and make a picture in my mind about what that number sentence is telling me. Sometimes I even make a sketch or draw a little picture of what that number sentence is about. And then I have to make some meaning. Sometimes I have to connect that number to my life or try and understand, well, what is the author telling me? What does this number mean? Is this a big number? Is this a little number? Why did the author put this number in there? What is the author trying to teach me? I'm looking at the 780 level Oreo article. And what I did was I went through and I highlighted sentences that had numbers. You see one on this page. And then I highlighted 3 other sentences that had numbers. I'm going to show you those steps I just told you about with some of these number sentences. Here's a highlighted one, and it says nearly $1 out of every $5 spent on cookies is used to buy Oreos. That's a number sentence, so I'm going to slow down. I'm going to put on my math brain. I'm going to read it again, and then I'm going to follow the steps. The first one is to visualize. Nearly $1 out of every $5 spent on cookies is used to buy Oreos. $1 out of every $5 spent on cookies. So I'm picturing $5 being spent on cookies. $1 is going towards Oreos. And $4 is going towards some other kind of cookies. Let me show you a sketch. So here I drew a sketch. I've got $5. Oops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $1 is being used to buy Oreos. And these $4 are being used to buy all the other cookies in the world. And I remember from my graph, there were a lot of other cookies in the world. And some of them, a lot of them I hadn't even heard of. Gamesa, Britannia. Then there was Chips Ahoy, Keebler, Girl Scout cookies, Little Debbie, Pepperidge Farms. So to buy all the other cookies in the world, $4 goes towards that, but then people save $1 just for Oreos. So now that I've done a little sketch, I need to make meaning. I need to try and understand this better so I can connect this to something or just try and understand what is the author's point. And I'm thinking, if I listed all the other cookies in the world, there would be like hundreds of thousands of kinds of cookies. But Oreos gets $1 all to themselves. So that makes me think, my meaning I'm making is that Oreos get bought a lot more than all the other kinds of cookies because all these cookies have to share these $4. Whereas Oreos, they get $1 all to themselves. So here's the meaning I made. You saw my sketch of that number sentence, and here's what I learned. What I think the author wanted to make me realize was that people spend more money on Oreos than other kinds of cookies. That's the meaning I'm making from that sentence with a number in it. All right, let's look at another one. This next sentence has the red arrow pointing to it. It says Americans buy 1.5. See how there's a 1 and then a half next to it right there? So that's 1.5 times as many Oreos as they did just 10 years ago. So let's remember our steps. When we hit a sentence with a number in it, we're going to slow down, possibly reread. We're going to visualize, possibly sketch, make a picture in our mind. And then we need to make meaning, or maybe make a connection to something else to try and understand this number fact better. All right, let's do it with that sentence I just read you. I'm going to reread it and think about a picture, make a picture in my mind. Americans buy 1.5 times as many Oreos as they did just 10 years ago. Okay, so I'm thinking in my mind 10 years ago. And then now, so let's see, 10 years ago was a little bit before you were born. Okay. Back then, people were buying Oreos, but now Americans buy 1.5 times as many. 1.5 times as many is not quite 2 times as many. All right, let me show you a sketch. So here I've got 10 years ago, and let's say that blue rectangle is how much Oreos people in America bought 10 years ago. Now I'm going to draw what today that would look like. Well, 1.5 times means 1. Oh my goodness, what was that? Hold on. Let me try again. 1.5 times. So the blue rectangle is how much Oreos people bought 10 years ago, right before you were born. Now, today people buy 1.5 times as much. So this would be 1 times as much, which would be the same amount of Oreos. And now I got to do half that. Half, which would be about half the size. So now people buy that much. Okay, now I need to make some meaning. Clearly, based on my sketch, I can tell that people are buying more Oreos today than they did 10 years ago. Let me write a sentence showing you what I learned from that sentence, that number sentence. Okay, here's the meaning I made. People are buying more Oreos today than they did right before my students were born. So, thinking about 10 years, I had to make meaning of 10 years, and I realized 10 years was right before my students were born. So thinking about that connection between my students' age and when this fact was referring to, which was 10 years ago, I made a connection to help me understand, well, how long ago was 10 years ago? It was right before you were born. So people are buying more Oreos now than they were before you were born. That is the meaning I made, and there's my meaning-making sentence. Okay, looking back at the article, I can see that there's 2 highlighted number facts left. And I'm not going to do those ones. I'm going to let you pick one to do. It's your turn to try. You're going to try and do just what we just learned. You're going to get out that article. You're going to find those number facts, the ones we haven't talked about yet. You're going to read them and reread them. I want you to make a visualization of the number fact, and then you're going to make a sketch on a sticky note of that fact, and you're going to make meaning of that fact by writing a meaning-making sentence. What is it you're taking away? What did you learn from that fact? So you're going to go to the 780 level of the article on Oreos. Even if it's not the one you originally read, that is the article I want you to go to on Newsella. The 780 level article. Everyone will be able to read the number facts. Let me show you again where they are in the article. I already did the one on the top of the second page. You could do this one, or you could do this one. One says about 5 of every 100 cookies sold around the world are Oreos. The other one says Oreos have been around for more than 100 years. They were first made by Nabisco in 1912. Both of those are number sentences, so I want you to use our number reading strategy. On a sticky note, you're going to put your name, and then you're going to put your sketch of the fact, and you're going to make meaning in a sentence, meaning you're going to write a sentence talking about what meaning you took from that when you thought about it and you visualized it and you sketched it. What did you decide that number sentence was trying to teach you? What did it mean? When you're done, I want you to put your sticky note in the sticky spot. I can't wait to see your sketches and a sentence to go with it. Thank you.